Athletes at the pinnacle of performance seem almost superhuman.
He does there. 108.5.
Today's record holders are clearly superior to even the most famous legends of the past. But without their highly engineered equipment, who would win if today's athletes were to compete against champions of the past?
That's the question the Nature of Things is trying to answer in this week's episode, looking at if athletes from the past and those from the present could compete against each other on a level playing field, and what role advances in sports gear plays in today's world records.
We're going to take 5 athletes.
Max R2, perfect runs for the championship.
And we're going to send them back in time. We want you to go down this track in that sled, dressed like these guys. We're going to race them against the heroes of the past.
30 years ago, I was racing and training here.
But they can't use their modern technologies.
Those look slow.
Robert Lang is the filmmaker behind this documentary. I spoke to him earlier today about the experiments they performed.
Something about the Olympics, even people who don't watch sports and maybe won't be watching the Super Bowl next week, they love the Olympics because it's once every 4 years or every 2 years, depending on which Olympics you're watching. And people love it. And I've always wondered to what extent underlying these performances, these world record performances, to what extent is technology at play? So I've always wondered, how can you test it? You can't really. I mean, unless you do science and you talk to a scientist and say, so what is this material? That can be boring. So we decided to put the athletes of today in the technologies of the past, in the gear of the past, and just see how they did and document it. So it's like an experiment, and they loved it.
Whose are these?
These are from the mid-'60s. A woman's speed skate with a fixed blade, as opposed to what they have now, clap skate, which release in the back. And it's leather. It's all leather here. And but this is quite light. They were very, very flimsy on the leather. It was not made to really hold your foot in. And in fact, Christine Nesbitt, who does the challenge for us, she put them on, and the first thing she said is, ooh, no support on my ankle, right? No support at all. You see how flimsy it is? It's like nothing there.
Didn't break the stick. I'm not sure who did. Well, what do we have here?
You broke my stick. This is Shea Weber's stick. Look.
Shea Weber broke it?
He's even got his signature on it.
Okay, well, whose stick was it originally?
It's the exact replica of Bobby Hull's stick that he used in the late 60s and early 70s, the CCM Custom Pro. And it's the same kind of wood, same profile. We had it bent. We did this bend, and we did it with hot water and sort of bending it under a door, just like Bobby Hull did. Exactly. And then we had Shea Weber try to beat Bobby Hull's 118-mile-an-hour slap shot.
And I know you don't want to tell us how we did, because we're going to watch the doc to find out. But obviously, he broke the stick.
He broke the stick, not the first time. He used it many times before he broke it, so that might give you a clue. He was trying really hard to beat Bobby. And you know Shea Weber, he's got the hardest shot in the NHL.
Right now,
3 seasons in a row at the skills competition, he had the hardest shot in the NHL. So could he do it? He's also about 7 inches taller than Bobby Hull was.
Talk about the difference that you saw between athletes today and back then. I'm guessing it's technology.
Well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, actually, I just mentioned that Shea Weber is 6'5". You wouldn't have had a player in the NHL that's 6'5" back in the day.
You would have been on a basketball court.
Well, exactly. Yeah. The size of players has changed. The size of the goalies, amazing now. They're all over 6 foot.
They cover the whole
Whereas Gump Worsley and those guys in the 60s, and they were tiny guys. And these days, so the size has changed. The other thing that's changed, of course, is the training. Well, the equipment, of course, the training, the nutrition, all those things. They have a lot of science behind them. What we especially were interested in, though, was the gear and how the gear gave them a leg up, the modern gear, as opposed to the old gear. But putting in the old gear really reflected on the new gear, on how much of an advantage that really was.
A bit of a spoiler alert, because we don't want you to give it away, but we're guessing, because you did this also with summer athletes, summer Olympic athletes, you must have found quite a difference.
Oh yeah, huge difference. But it's never predictable. It's always a surprise, honestly.
All right, and we can Find out the surprise by watching The Nature of Things this Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on CBC Television. It's also available online at cbc.ca/docs.